stopping by the Carnes for a few minutes here. An old friend, he's coming back, and he's jacked and stacked and ready to go. James Outman. James, how you doing, man?
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Oh, we're doing good. We're doing good. First starters, congratulations on the nuptials. I know you've had some busy time this off season, so congratulations to you and your bride.
Thank you very much. It was a crazy off season, lot going on.
To say the least, I that's actually where I wanted to start with you. A lot of stuff has happened with the Dodgers that we may or may not know. You may or may not know. A lot of movement has happened in the outfield. Sounds like it's going to be a youth movement that's going to be happening with the team. And there's a few guys that are going to have opportunities. One of them that comes to mind, his name's James Outman. But I wanted to ask you, has any of that lingered in your head and affected you in any way, or are you just going about it like I'm just going to do my job and do the damn thing?
More of the latter. To be honest, it's just so out of my control with the decisions that they make that I just feel like if I keep getting better, then the rest will take care of itself. So I've had people come up to me and tell me, maybe you got a shot, maybe you don't, but I'm just trying to get better every day and then let that speak for itself.
Completely fair. I mean, these guys will tell you I'm not one to point this out, but I do think you have a fair shot to make the roster. I actually think you had a fair shot to make even the postseason roster and the roster last year, but it all worked out the way that it did. I wanted to ask you after your time in the show, and then obviously you were kind of back down. How did that change your mindset with even preparation?
I'd definitely say it changed my new standard. Being in the show for 6 days, there's a different standard going on there than there is in minor leagues. Just in terms of quality of everything you're doing, like quality of how you're rolling out and your prep work, and the swings you take in the machine. There's a new standard, so I definitely feel like I was trying to bring that back with me, kind of like as a tool that I learned when I was up there. It's easy when there's so many resources up there. Multiple hitting coaches. Fresh baseballs every single day. Each locker room has their own gym. Stuff like that. But I'm just trying. I was doing my best to maintain that new standard that I set for myself.
So is it fair to say that it made you even hungrier than you already were?
Yeah, definitely. It was, it was awesome up there. Everything, the food, the people, the fans, everything was so cool. And I just want to get back really bad, but can't focus on that too much.
Right. Well, as Ric Flair once said, everything tastes better when you're in first class. So I 100% get that. One thing I always ask guys too, especially because obviously we talked to you while you were up, and then you went back down. Did the speed of the game change for you, and did that kind of pace of play stay with you the rest of the way?
The speed of the game is definitely different. It's not that different, but I kind of going back to my last answer, they were just a new standard for myself. So, it was more pitch by pitch. I let that pitch go. I should have swung at that. Maybe before I got called up, it's just that's just part of my at bat. But those guys are nasty up there. So if you take the pitch you should have swung at, maybe that's your at bat. So I'd like to think I went into the last month or so of the season with that mindset, I'm trying to take a big league at bat right here. So I would say that was the biggest thing.
Fair. Juanito, go ahead.
James, I want to talk to you about that awesome hype video that you released, because let me tell you, I saw someone else release I guess maybe a hype video, and it just did not compare to yours. And it just made me think of something. We recently talked to Joe Kelly, and we were talking about growing baseball, right? And that video I saw got a lot of reaction, right? And it was because you were kind of letting us in, and the transparency that baseball lacks it's very refreshing when we see someone pull back the curtain and let us know, like, this is how this guy prepares. And in a way, seeing you how you prepare, we get to know you, get maybe a glimpse of your personality. I know that they train you guys in terms of maybe how to deal with the media. Have they ever discussed with you guys about this image, cultivating it? Because, hey, this is a business. This is not just a game. Everyone says it's a game, but this is a business. You're looking to get paid. And the more people know about you, the better chances are people you're going to get paid somehow, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, we actually just had meetings not too long ago, kind of discussing that. Like, you're in charge. What you do is how the media presents you. So be in control of that. And they were talking to us about how, like, you want to create and maintain your own brand. It was fortunate timing that Scott Ohashi wanted to film a workout. So yeah, he did an amazing job, and it's I don't know. I'm all new to this, so it's
So is that how that came about? He approached you and said, "Hey, let
mhm.
me shoot you training."
Yeah, pretty much. He works for the Dodgers, so he just once we were done filming, he goes, "Hey, you want me to make a little highlight video and send that over?" And I was like, "Hell yeah!" So he did that, and that night I watched it like 100 times before I posted it, because I thought he did such an amazing job.
So whose idea was it to wear the carne asada shirt? Because Alex Friedman told us that you wear that shirt all the time during batting practice. And we were like, whatever, get out of here. But then when we saw you actually wearing it during the workout, I had to apologize to Alex and be like, all right, dude, you're not a liar. I guess James really does wear the shirt. But hey, man, we appreciate you showing us some love in that video.
Yeah, no, that shirt's super comfy. I love wearing that thing. It's Dodger colors, carne asada. It's all good things on that shirt. So I love wearing it.
So I for anybody who's a loyal listener to the show knows that I have a hatred of Hulk Hogan, but I did see that you are training, saying the prayers, and taking the vitamins. As Alonzo had mentioned, you had the 24-inch pythons now. When the season ended last year, was that a concerted effort? Is that something they told you needed to work on? Was in terms of your physique, or did you feel you needed to get stronger?
No, I mean, I'm always trying to get stronger every off season. I'm always trying to get bigger, stronger, and faster. Because I'm sure I'll reach a point where that gets harder and harder as the years go on. But yeah, no, I mean, they said they wanted me going in at like 220 into spring training, and I was already like 215.
Mm-hmm.
So 5 pounds, maybe one extra scoop of ice cream at night or something like that. One extra taco. No, but I'm always trying to challenge myself in the gym and stuff like that, and I enjoy working out. I think it's a great time. You're with your friends, typically you're your teammates, and you challenge each other. So it's an environment that I like being in.
So what do you go off of at the end of the season? Do the Dodgers come to you and say, "Hey, during the off season, we want you to work on this," or do you go more about how you're feeling yourself? Like, nobody's going to know you better than you, right? You know what
Hmm.
you got to work on.
Yeah, no, it's more collaborative. I was talking with our strength coach in AAA, and I was just like, "Hey, what do you think like a good weight would be?" And he's like, "What are you right now?" I was like, 220. He's like, "Coming at 220." Because I always lose a little bit of weight in the off season. Just I don't know why. Probably because we don't have chefs or catering and stuff at my house. So, but but yeah. So I always come in like a few pounds down, and then I gain that back up once food is in front of my face all day. But I get to 220 at the beginning or at the middle of the season. Sorry, and I feel like middle of the season is when I start doing better than I was at the beginning. So my strength coach is like, just be there.
But and I think that's something that most players don't talk about, the advantages of being in an organization that believes in that kind of stuff. I had heard nightmare stories about, for example, how the Angels would treat their minor leaguers. I mean, you haven't really played for any other organization, so I don't think you have anything to compare it to. But
Yeah.
does it ever cross your mind that it's like, hey, I need to take advantage of these resources while I can because I might not have them anywhere else?
Yeah, no, I mean, I've talked to guys coming from different organizations, and they're saying you guys have it so good here. So I understand that. I can't speak on what the other teams do just because I haven't experienced it, but I have heard from like multiple people that are everything. Like your guys' training is so much better. Your guys' food is so much better. The like just kind of you name it, they'll pretty much say like, yeah, it's either the same or better. So the Dodgers do a really good job at like treating their players like an investment. So I'm thankful for that.
There you go, Alonzo. It's all about feeding these people. I think they're investing in tacos.
Well, I mean, they should be. I mean, they really should do what Aegon used to do: get a taquero out there, and
Yeah.
I mean, it makes it easier, right? But the thing about that I like that the Dodgers do is, like James said, it's treating it like an investment, and it's also one less thing that the guys have to worry about, because at the end of the day, James has to just show up to the field and do what he needs to do, and then everything's sorted out, right?
Exactly.
And I think that goes a long way because to Juan's point, in other organizations, it may not be that same way. So you got to appreciate it while you can. I wanted to ask you though, and again, small sample size when you were in the show, but you went down. But the thing that's kind of trippy about it is your consistency is just aligned at every level, right? When you went from Tulsa to OKC, it was pretty consistent. I mean, I feel like the only stat that was maybe off that actually increased where you're in AAA was your I think your slugging percentage. But even in the show, I mean, I think you left with like a 463 average. You could retire now and you'd still be ahead of Ted Williams. So, I mean, you'd be good. but I wanted to ask you, like, your consistency, I feel like is kind of a testament to your work ethic, right? You're pretty consistent all across the board. What kind of drives that for you to kind of stay on that path?
Well, that's a good question. To be honest, I think it's just like, man, that's a really good question. I don't know. I don't know. It's I've always enjoyed the process of getting better. So I think that's a big part of it. So for all you young listeners out there, fall in love with that, and then you can turn around and be like, oh my God, like look at how far I've come. But if you keep getting better, like you're gonna keep seeing those small increments of success, and like, oh my God, like I really am this much better than I was a few years ago, because I came into the Dodgers, but I felt like I had a lot of work to do. So I still do, but I really felt like, just going in every day. And then that's the other thing too, is playing a 162 game season, you're there a lot. So you're either going to use that time to your advantage or you won't. But going in every day, trying to get a little bit better, trying to get a little bit better, trying to get a little bit better. Then all of a sudden you turn around and you're like, oh my God, I've gotten so much better.
The reason I ask that is because I feel like a lot of guys either try to reinvent the wheel, right, when they don't need to. But also there's a lot of guys that get that sample size of being in the show and they're like, oh, this is me now, right? And then they get sent down and then it's a struggle. I don't think that's a thing with the Dodgers, if I'm honest, just because the culture is so different. But in other organizations, you see that with guys, like even how they hang their stuff in their lockers. It's a little different, right? Because all that's different. But I think you were saying, like, to the youngsters, especially with this generation, I mean, you're 10 years younger than I am. Everyone wants everything like that, right? They want everything now and they want it easy. And I feel like, to Juan's point, you pulling the curtain back to show the grind, right? To show the work, to show the ethic goes a long way, because not only for your brand, but also to these kids that think, oh, well, if I'm good at this, James Outman got drafted in the 7th round, 225th pick or 24th pick. I'll be in the show too. And it's not easy because baseball is hard. At the end of the day, it's hard, but it's fun. Yeah. But even at that, for me, the biggest thing for that I took away from all that you did last year is your consistency is bananas. Like, there's another guy that you remind me of is Max Muncy. That guy's patient. That guy just, waits and picks and chooses his battles. And I feel like you do the same thing too when you kind of watch the bats and whatnot.
No, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I'm just piggybacking off of what you said. There's people say the off season it's not off. It's you're using that time, you're taking advantage of that time. You're not just like going on vacation and then sitting around until the season starts. Obviously I'm going on vacations and stuff like that. Having some downtime. Yeah, getting married. But I'm working whenever I can, and we work for 8 months out of the year, then have a 4-month off season. But I'm still trying to get better so I can come in better than I was when I left, hopefully, or at least the same. It's crazy how quick that stuff will leave you when you're not training it, whether it's in the weight room or swinging, throwing, all that stuff.
I remember someone saying that the off season is money in the bank, and I never understood what that meant until I got older, because like Juan was saying earlier when we were talking to someone, at the end of the day, it's a job, right? Guys are fighting for a job, and you got to go out there and prepare to be your best. So I wanted to ask you that, obviously there's a lot of uncertainty this season, but it's good uncertainty because there's opening for opportunities. What's your mindset going into this camp that's going to start here, which is crazy to think here in a week or so?
Yeah, it's coming up. Mindset's the same as always. Put together good at bats. Oops, sorry guys. Put together good at bats. Make my plays in the outfield. Hit my cutoff man. Get my lift in. Get my conditioning in. Get my running in, and try and pick people's brains to see what I'm bad at, so I can become good at that, whatever that may be.
That's fair. Speaking of cutoff man, Juanito, go ahead and pick the play for me.
Well, James, I'm. It's funny because listening to you, I mean, it's Mamba mentality, man. It's all about the process and getting to hear in your own words. You kind of you're able to see, why some people succeed and other people don't succeed. The other people may have the same amount of talent as you, but it's the mental aspect that maybe separates someone from the other. I was talking to Max Muncy about this in the sense that he struggled the first half of the season, and he struggled a lot. And this is a guy that had been in the show for a while. And he said to me that it was just like, look, when it comes to baseball, it's about confidence. And physically, you may be fine, but if you don't have the confidence, that's the reason why you don't succeed. Those 6 days that you mentioned, I mean, you look at those 6 days and everybody is just like ready to put you in the Hall of Fame. It was considered a successful run. But were there ever times while you were up there, maybe after a strikeout or maybe after what you said, like how you said, hey, those guys are legit, when you see pitches moving in the speed that they're moving, dropping and all that stuff, has there ever been a part of you that has been like, hey, I might be overwhelmed here, or I bit off more than I can chew?
I wouldn't say, I didn't feel overwhelmed or that I bit off more than I could chew. There were a couple at bats where it's like, man, like these guys don't let up. I took that more as motivating, to be honest. I was like, this is just what it's going to be from now on, so I might as well get used to it. I feel like I believe in myself. I think everybody believes in themselves out here. I don't really think you can fake your way to the big leagues, unless you just have unreal talent, which some people have that talent. But even then, I don't think anyone's faking it up there, because it's good. It's a lot better than what I was expecting, and just more so in terms of like the consistency of this is what the slider does, and this is what it looks like every time, and it's always going to look like a strike until the last second. Just like stuff like that. So, yeah, it's
No, to me, the thing is the mental. I hear this expression all the time, especially when it comes to relievers, right? You have to have a short-term memory, right? You got to be able to forget things. But to me, it sounds easier said than done. I mean, look, I play slow pitch fastball, right? Softball. And I take a caller in 0 for 4, and I'm beating myself up all day. and that's softball, right? So it seems like you're someone who is pretty hard on yourself. You have high expectations. How easy is it for you to put it behind you and move on and be like, I'm going to get him the next one?
Yeah. Uh, I think it's easier when you look at things objectively. When you look at it like, hey, that guy made a good pitch. That's a hard pitch to swing at, and then you just leave it at that, or like that's a hard pitch to take. Sometimes you just got to tip your cap to him. But I think looking at things objectively, it could be the flip side too, where it's like I got a hit, but I swung at a pitch maybe I shouldn't have swung at, and I wasn't balanced in my swing. Luckily I was able to get a hit. And it's like, okay, if I'm gonna take a step back, like next time I'm not gonna swing at that pitch because my success rate on this pitch that's outside of the zone, away and low, that I was just able to hit a 45 hopper through the shortstop and beat the shift, that's not gonna play all the time. So it's looking at things objectively and controlling what is controllable, I would say, within the at bat, and understanding like as soon as the ball leaves the bat, it's not my ball anymore. So it's doing whatever it's going to do.
I find it really interesting that you said that, looking at it objectively, because, I'm watching a game with my friends and they're all yelling, oh, that guy sucks. And it's always about, oh, that guy sucks. And it's never giving credit to the other person. It's never about like, dude, did you see the pitch? How the hell do you think he's going to hit that?
Yeah.
It's like you said, tipping your hat off. You mentioned something, the rule changes that are taking place. So the shift is now gone. Do you think that's going to help you? I'm sure you were trained as a little kid, just go right up the middle. And before, with the shift, you couldn't do that. You went up the middle and you would hit it right towards the guy. Are you looking forward to not having the shift anymore?
Yeah, we had it. So we had it in Double A last year. So I got a little sample of it. We were actually talking about that today, where it's like you spend your whole life growing up. If I hit a line drive up the middle and I smoke a ball, I should be rewarded. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see. I don't think it's going to be as extreme as people are thinking it will be. There's definitely going to be more hits, I would say, more than having the shift in effect. But the guys are still shifted over. They just have to be on the dirt on one side of second base or the other. Like in Double A, guys are still shifted over. It just would leave, maybe that hole like just right of second base. That would be the hole that would be open now, because the shortstop's playing like he's typically hugging second base when I'm up to bat. He's going to be on the other side.
I swear, Alonzo, these guys are all chomping at the bit to hit now, knowing that everybody's playing a normal position in the infield.
Well, and to one counterpoint, I guess, to James pointing out of maybe getting more hits, I think it's going to help defensively, because there's guys that didn't have a shot to help their defensive metrics, and I think that's going to be good. You're going to see the return of the glove, which isn't a bad thing, right? Like, I think it's going to be overall better for the game because it'll be traditional per se. But I also hated the shift. I mean, that you can call me old man yells at cloud, but I absolutely hated the shift because I just felt like it was unfair for like a lefty like James Outman, where you still, I mean, granted, you still have to put the ball in play, right? But either way, I thought it was bullshit. That's just me.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree that there's going to be some sweet highlight reels coming up this year.
Yeah. Remember web gems? Like, web gems are going to be a thing again because of some of those highlights. And I for one am here for it. So I am stoked for that.
Yeah, definitely. James
Outman, if you are not following James Outman on the Instagram, go follow him. It's at James Outman. It's pretty easy to find. We will send you some new comfortable shirts, so that way you're comfortable, in batting practice. And and last question before we set you loose: will we see a return of the show hair? I know you had to get cleaned up for the nuptials, which we all respect because we've all had to be there. Will the show hair be making a return?
Yeah, so I cut it like kind of short in September and haven't touched it since. So it's growing back. hopefully it can be a little bit longer. It's getting there. It's not too bad. At least it'll still be coming out of my hat. I just want it to be coming out of my helmet.
See, I mean, I feel like if there were to be a show hair competition, you're top 5 in the org. Like there's no question about it, and I am here for that because any accolade is a good accolade in my book.
Definitely.
Hey,
I'm always. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No. I was going to say, how long have you been there? Because you're already reporting, right? You're already doing work, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got here Saturday. Got here Saturday. About 5 days ago.
And how many people you guys got in that house?
I'm in a hotel right now. We're
okay.
Yeah, I'm in a hotel right now. We'll be getting a place pretty shortly, and I'll be with two other teammates, so it won't be too crazy.
So is it different reporting as a married man as it was as a single man, or were you always just business?
It's the same. It's the same. They all knew me before. It's definitely like, I definitely can like relate with the older guys now though.
Oh, really? Are you not super chill now? Are they giving you crap and being like, hey, what happened to the old James? You changed, man.
You used to be cool, bro.
Yeah, you used to be cool.
Yeah, no, the older guys now that, they'd be like, my wife, oh yeah, my wife too. Like, then we'll just like start swapping stories. So yeah, I got something else in common with them.
Now you get to share war stories of a different kind, and it's not a bad thing. I mean, I do the same thing too, and it's just I mean, granted, I wasn't married as young as you were, but at the same time, the war stories still hit the same. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, if you're not following him, go follow him. He's a great dude, obviously a great baseball player, but an even better dude. And whatever we can do to help the James Outman train, we're all about. James Outman, go follow him. Thank you, James, for the time. We really appreciate you, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Always.